resistance has to come because people just disagree with what is going on. And if people disagree and they have any gumption or they have a couple of peppers between their legs, sorry for the women out there, there's going to be a reaction and there's going to be pushback. And wherever we're looking, we're seeing pushback. Some of the countries which are most under attack are Australia. And we can see with Ricardo Bosi that he's trying to use his capacities in the army to do with delegation and leadership to be able to use A1 or Australia First or Australia One Party to push back against the government, which seemed to be illegal and seemed to be changing the constitution illegally without any discussion or permission from the people. We therefore are heading for a resistance. Wherever you see oppression somewhere, you get resistance. In Ireland, you have the IRA, you've got ISIS, which are pushing back against those people, and then you've got the Mujahideen, and you've got FARC, and you've got paramilitary, and you've got all of these people. We are heading, if we carry on, towards resistance. The people are starting to get ready. The people are seeing what's going on. Some of them not. The people that are in a minority, which are disagreeing with the majority, are not going to be forced to go on with their lives in a particular way that they don't feel is justifiable. The police are not going to help us. Max Igan said that 25% are completely psychopathically crazy and enjoy what they're doing. The military, the way the military gets trained is that they have someone standing in front of them, shouting in their face, insulting their family and everyone else, and they have to repress those emotions and obey command, and then when they're told to go and kill, they kill. So the army aren't really people of intellectual capacities, they're really people that carry out orders and obey, which is what the government and the world policy want the people of this world to be like, just obedient people. If you treat people worse or bad enough like you do in the army, hopefully you'll be able to get them to suppress their emotions so that they just carry out orders for you. And so the only people in the future at the moment, the immediate future that I can see, if this technology takes over, this technology is not human. Technology isn't bad. There is a book by Kevin Kelly. Technology exists in all sorts of forms. If you get a piece of rock and a piece of wood and you get some rope and you tie all those things together, you get a hammer. That is technology. That technology then turns into mechanical technology, into electrical technology, into smart technology. There is an evolution of technology that seems to parallel human evolution, if you like, except humans aren't evolving consciously, they're evolving technologically. You need to evolve consciously in order to balance the technology, otherwise the technology goes out of control. And this seems to be what's happening. There is some other force, there is some virus, there is some AI virus which has been around since time immemorial that we can't see, that is perhaps in people. We don't know what the answer is, but we do know that something's miffed, something's up. And it seems to be in the form of technology and our inability to cope with technology because we don't seem to be spiritually or consciously advanced. It seems almost that somebody has given the little child a real gun, and the child loves the real gun but lacks the capacity in order how to deal with this power, because technology is power. And as you can see, we are having our power being taken away from us and it's been given to technology. In America, I've learned that you can't really, in some places, buy or sell unless you have technology. Technology, they want to make part of the future because it's easier to control people through technology than anything else. So the police aren't going to help us. The police officers that would have helped us are now being washed out. The military that would have helped us are being washed out because if they don't take the vaccine, because they can see something's wrong, they're being asked to leave. So you're going to be boiling down the army and the police to the psychopaths. You're basically getting the essence of psychopathy within the police and the military to put power onto the people in order to control the people, in order to obey and submit. And this is what it is about. It's about submitting to authority. If you go into the military, you are giving up your free will. You are letting someone else tell you what to do. You are submitting to something. That's fine because that's free will. But what the government's in total are trying to get us to do is try to give up our power by submission. And the V at XXIN is a symbolic gesture. If you are told to have this in your body and it's a penetration of your body, it's not something that you orally take, it's not something you put on your skin, it's a penetration. There is pain, something is going into your body. You are submitting, you're allowing yourself to submit to the authority. You're allowing someone else to gain control of your body. And so what we're seeing is a psychological game. The V at X is a psychological game to see who's willing to depart from their body, who's willing to give over control to someone else and who's not. And I think the people in the future which are really going to come along now are the hackers. The hackers are the people which are going to be able to put up a resistance to technology, because the military and the police, they're physical, they're on the ground, in the boots on the ground. But the way that this world is being made is electronically. So you need an electronic resistance. And I think that you're going to see a lot of people in their own ways, doing their own things in groups. I'm not very technological. And they're going to try to start pushing back against the system in the way that they know how best. So when you have the systems which are up and running, they're going to try and pull the systems down. They're going to clog them up. They're not going to make them work properly. And that's going to create problems and chaos within the people, which is going to light their fires in anger, and that will help them to push back. Because as the people submit and submit and submit and submit, and they give up, once they become molested by the incapacity for the system to work, because hackers are taking the system down or infuriating the system, then the people will try to say, well, you know, maybe what we're being told is supposed to be working for us isn't, and therefore this system should not be existing and telling us what to do because it's not able to function as something that we've been told. I want to draw your attention to a Mexican town that kicked out the cartels and told the police and political parties to get lost too. There was a town, so on Friday the 15th of April 2011, Cheran's levantamiento or uprising began. On the road coming down from the forest outside Margarita's home, the women blockaded the loggers' pickups and took some of them hostage. As the bells of El Calvario rang out and fireworks exploded into the dawn sky, alerting the community to danger, the people of Cheran came running out to help. It was a tense moment. Hotheads had to be persuaded by the women not to string up the hostages from an ancient tree outside the church. Very apt. You always want to kill people outside a church. Christians have a knack for this. The municipal police arrived with the mayor, and armed men came to free their hostage friends. So the mayor and the armed forces and the narco-traffickers and the loggers are all on the same side. And of course, the people that pay the police and the mayor's wages are the townspeople who are being attacked by them. There was an uneasy standoff between the townspeople, the loggers and the police. It ended after 2 loggers were injured by a young man who shot a firework directly at them. The police and local politicians were quickly driven out of town because the people suspected they were collaborating with the criminal networks. Suspecting. They didn't suspect, they knew. Political parties were banned and still are because they were deemed to have caused divisions between people. Isn't that strange? The politicians which are voted by the people then divide the people, which then create havoc and allow narco-traffics and illegal logging to come in, which damages nature and takes away the resources of the people that are paying the people to look after it. Meanwhile, armed checkpoints were established on 3 main roads coming into town. Today, 5 years later, those checkpoints still exist. They are guarded by members of the Ronda Comunitaria, a military or local police force made up of men and women from Cheran. What I'm trying to show is that we perhaps don't need government. Government, govern, which is to control, and munt, which comes from the Latin mente, which means mind. Mente, mind, govern, mind, mind, control. We vote the government in to control us. They don't work for us. In the UK, we vote politicians in. We therefore think that we are represented. Those politicians then have to do what the party says, which is not something that the citizens or subjects, in our case in England, have control over. So when we tell a politician to work for us, the politician then works for the party, which has a different agenda from the people that voted them in. So it doesn't really work. Do we actually need police? Do we actually need government? Can we not create our own police? What's happened is we did originally create our own police, and then that police force got power, some sort of virus, mind virus. Colin Wilson wrote a very good book about mind viruses. Then seems to have gotten in some sort of AI virus, whatever it is, and that power or that office became contaminated and the people became corrupted. And then you have a history and hereditary corruption which works through the generations that the people go into that office to take. So do we actually need people to tell us what to do? It doesn't seem so. It seems that we can, if we want, drive politicians out. And we're told without politics, without politicians, without police, there is chaos. No, I don't think that there is chaos. What I think happens is that chaos is created so that we want to have police. But if we can get rid of the people that create the chaos, then we won't need to have the police in that capacity. The people should be educated. When you have educated people, the people should be educated in consciousness. And the people should obviously not have the same education that people have at school. The education that you have at school is not education. If you grow up people having this school education, they cannot control themselves or other people. They cannot self-govern. You need people to be educated properly in the proper sense of the word education, which is consciousness, which is a link to spirit. It is to be informed by spirit. Education probably isn't about learning things. It's probably developing a capacity or opening up the channels in the pipes to be able to receive information from above. All education does is it strangles those tubes, so less information comes from above and more comes from the textbook. And then that allows you to be lied to, because what the school teaches you and what the textbooks teach you is a pack of lies.